how do you and your partner have sex? And the woman looked at her and she said, well, you've been coming for 6 weeks and you're still having the same pain in your lower back and your pelvis. And so I'm just wondering if you guys are always doing missionary. And she said, yes. And she said, may I suggest you explore other positions?
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to talk about the very redefining conversation I had with Dr. Celeste Holbrook in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, feel free to pause this now and go back and listen to that one and then come back and join us. Y'all, she was even better than the first time she came on. I mean, I don't know if this is even better, but like it just was a really great continuation of the conversation.
Yeah.
I really love her. I love the...
It's also been 150 episodes.
Insanity. Holy moly.
Didn't know that.
I didn't realize. I thought it was like maybe too soon, and it's not at all. Not at all. So we'll be talking about Dr. Celeste and what she had to say, and I keep thinking about it even since we've interviewed her, which doesn't always happen with all of our guests. I mean, I still love all the shows, but like I keep thinking about one of the things that if we talk, I'll bring that in my takeaways. And I think she's on to something. She needs to do another TEDx. Anyways, Today is National Love is Kind Day. It's a day to celebrate those who escaped domestic violence or domestic abuse. We are celebrating freedom from such abusive relationships or situations. So celebrate freedom from toxic relationships. You deserve a healthy, supportive, and fun relationship. If you are currently in an abusive relationship, there's help for you. It's help available. Please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. I can't think of a better day to celebrate than this, with Dr. Celeste being the episode recapping, because 1000% everything she talks about is to be with someone who's in a loving, kind relationship.
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, check out Brad's shirt.
Check it out, y'all.
Oh my God. If you didn't know, so if you're listening at home, his shirt is a Be It Pod shirt. It's actually...
Yeah.
Is that new?
I don't know. It's been in my closet. I was like, oh, this is appropriate.
That's actually really cute.
Yeah.
What I like about the Be It Till You See It merch is that it's like actually like just telling people to be it till they see it. So you're walking around inspiring people all the time. But we have merch, y'all. And a lot of people are always wondering where like the perfect is boring, which is all backwards.
Yeah, the hat, for example.
Mm-hmm. And so we actually have a boutique at leslielogan.co. So just go to leslielogan.co, click on the boutique at the top right corner, and boom, you can get all the Be It Pod merch, including the mugs that we have all of our guests get with their name on it. You could have a Be It Pod mug too.
Yeah, Be It Pod mug. We got, I think there's like a water bottle. There's shirts.
There is. My dad
things.
has the Be It Till You See It water bottle.
Yeah.
He's also currently borrowing the Sexy Barnacle water bottle.
Yes.
Which is from Pilates merch.
Hilarious.
It's very funny.
I love it.
And I love that he didn't even notice what that means. He's just like 71 and just
brilliant.
Freaking drink his water.
All right. This week, we just got back from the UK. I'm so excited that we had a chance to do this trip because I've never been to Scotland. And I've also never been to the northern part of England. So it was really cool to get the chance to hang out with some of our members up there, have them come join us for workshops, to hang out with Claire at her studio up in Leeds. And then also really to be able to spend time with your dad in Scotland.
I know.
Pretty cool.
It's really cool that we get to do these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's just important to like take advantage. He was always like, when I'm turned 75, I want to do it. And we're like, how do we just do it while you can run on a train by yourself and remember where you're at? Like, let's do that. And so it's just like, I know that traveling is a lot. It's a lot of time and money and planning. And so I understand that people can't do that, but my goodness, I don't care if you just go 2 hours away, like take advantage of times, like shared experiences. Yeah. My bestie Sue Spinelli is the one who taught me about shared experiences being like the thing that makes relationships stronger and deeper and grow. And so I fully support that. So we had a great time. It was super fun. And now we're here. We're in Las Vegas.
We're back home.
I'm about to do the Barrels weekend for my Elevate mentorship. And that means it's round 2's last weekend.
I know.
That's so crazy.
I know. It went fast.
I feel like I just did the last weekend for round 1. That means that was a year ago.
Whoa. Holy cow. Really?
I know. Holy fucking cow.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, they're just, I just love this program so much and just watching them grow. It's really amazing. The people who dedicate themselves to that. So we're going to have so much fun with the Barrels. Next month, August, which is like literally like 3 days from this. So I'm going to wrap up the Barrels weekend, you guys. Brad's going to have the car ready to go and we're going to get in the car. We're going to drive to Southern California. We're going to kick off the OPC tour.
Yeah. So in like a little over a week, we're going to be hitting the road. And I'm sure you've seen us talking about this all over socials and all over the emails and all the things.
We just don't want you to miss out on it.
If you live on the West Coast and you're wondering where you can meet up with us, go to opc.me/tour, opc.me/tour, and hopefully there's still some tickets available. Things are definitely like one room. I don't think it'll be possible to sell it out. It's a 7,000 square foot studio.
Okay, but that's a weird extreme.
That's the only one room. Because everyone else has very limited
There's
seats.
also several that have like 6 spots.
Right.
Like that's
6.
it.
Most have 12.
I know.
Yeah, there's a couple that have only
Fairfield,
6.
I think Fairfield almost sold out at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, come meet up with us. We're doing the full West Coast, opc.me/tour.
Something is on me.
Ew.
I'm fine.
Ew.
Don't worry about it.
Ew, gross. What was that?
I don't know. But you can go to opc.me.com/tour.
Moving right along.
And join us. We like to keep it real around here, guys.
Hey, upcoming after August, what do we got?
So Profit Bodies has its agency mini. It's our second time offering it this year, and we are working towards only offering it once a year. So you do not want to hesitate because you don't know if we do it once a year next year, you won't know when that once a year is going to be. So for a week of coaching on your business and really getting clarity on your business and next steps, you want to go to profitablepilates.com/mini. That's profitablepilates.com/mini, MINI. One of the people that
get on the wait list. It's free.
Yeah, one of the people that joined us from that Agency 7, which was the fall one, so it's almost a year, her membership has grown 5 times.
That's insane.
Insane. And that's
in a year.
Yeah. And like, it's just like.
Okay, August. I don't know if y'all could hear August in the background.
He was like.
Stretching.
Yeah, he was cheering on our member. That
he was.
But it's really amazing what our members are doing and how they support each other and the community that they create. And it's so much abundance. It's just phenomenal. So go there because you want to get on the wait list. People who are on the wait list will get a month's notice to sign up, which means like any day now. And then you can get into the group early to get extra time doing your homework and setting yourself up. So you don't want to miss that. And then we have Cambodia, and then we are working on some details for November. So you just got to hang tight. And then December is a winter tour, and you just got to hang tight because only one tour at a time, guys. Like
Cambodia is confirmed. That's in October 8th through 15th.
Oh, it's so confirmed. It's like sold out. So but we can make a room for you if you don't want to wait till next year. So you can go to leslielogan.co/retreat if you want to come to Cambodia and just like really have the best time of your life.
Yeah, it's a life-changing
Here's the deal. We are trying to maximize the in-person opportunities because shared experiences is how relationships grow.
Yeah.
Even with yourself. How about that? Okay. Before we get into Dr. Celeste, do we have an audience question, Brad?
We do. I'm very excited to say. And the question was, hey, I've heard you talking about your Elevate program, your mentorship program. When is the next round happening?
Yeah, we've had a lot. Our round 2 and 3 have been promoting like the things that they're learning. I got this question a couple of times, so I just thought it would be great to answer it here. So there's a lot that goes into us planning Elevate because there's only so many weekends in the year. And I surveyed our round 1. And I was like, hey guys, what if I like run it during the week? And they're like, I would never been able to do it if it was during the week. And I was like, okay. So we do need weekends.
Yeah.
And so the reality is that the team and I are actually planning the dates literally as we record this for next year. We are definitely doing around 4.
Yeah.
We are looking at if around 5 is even possible. It really just depends. I like the groups to have 12 people. You definitely need 12 because I want you to have it small and intimate, but also have plenty of opportunities to work with different bodies in case anyone's super busy. I was in a group that had like 4 people and like that's too small. So we want to have, not an elevate, like my own personal experience. And like if someone is sick, there's only 2 other people you can work with. So I definitely like to keep it around that 12 sweet spot. So we will probably open up applications in the next couple of weeks. And then applications are really simple, guys. Don't let it scare you. All these perfections, like, I won't get picked. It's like, it's mostly to make sure that you understand what you're signing up for.
And / that you have, like, because we have a couple of requirements.
Yeah, we have a couple of requirements.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't meet the requirements, I actually tell you how you can meet them so you can sign up for the next one.
Yeah, so even if you're not sure if you meet them, you can apply anyway and still, chit chat with us and we'll figure it out.
Absolutely.
So no pressure.
Absolutely. And then
it takes like what? 5 minutes to do.
It's like
10 minutes
I think
at
it's
the most.
literally 7 questions.
It's like it's a couple questions, and there's a couple fill in the blanks where if you choose to write a novel, it'll be a 10-minute application.
Yeah, that's
but
up
you don't
to you.
Have to.
You can write whatever you want, but it can be yes. It's a lot of yes and no's. So you'll want to get on the wait list for that because we actually do not promote this publicly.
Right.
So you want to go to leslielogan.co/elevate to get on the wait list for that. And those on the wait list will be the only people to find out about when the doors open to apply. We actually do have 6 people whose applications have been approved from previous rounds for round 4. So we'll be reaching out to them first, make sure that they're confirmed. And then we'll also have the date set so that we can decide if we're doing around 4 and 5 or just around 4.
Yeah.
We're also doing an Elevate alumni retreat next year. So I'm so excited about that. You guys, this group is it's really phenomenal. And the other day,
people.
I was teaching an alumni call. So the alumni sign up for a call and we do a 45-minute workout where they work themselves out in their own practice and a 45-minute Q&A. Holy freaking moly. These girls, they're not girls, they're women. But these women, some of the things that they were struggling with last year, they're not struggling with anymore. And that just goes to like, it's the power of like having a consistent practice and a curious practice. And that's what Elevate really does, try to help every person embody. So it's not about memorization. It's about really understanding what your body needs. And that's how you can help your client. So anyways, I'm just so excited that we do this. It's definitely like my passion project.
Yeah.
I love it.
Totally. I love it. Awesome. Amazing. Well, get yourself on the wait list. leslielogan.co/elevate.
And if you have questions that you want us to answer, like why is Brad wearing that white hat? Or what are you guys reading this summer? Or how do you even sleep in a van with 3 dogs? Because we did have friends at the car going, you put all 3 dogs in this van?
It's true.
And we're like, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
So you can ask us anything. That's the whole point of the question. So send it into the Beit Pod and we will answer it for you here on the podcast.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. Now let's talk about Dr. Celeste Holbrook. As a leading voice in the field of human sexuality, Dr. Celeste Holbrook inspires individuals to embrace their unique sexual identities, engage in harm reduction practices, and experience a life of authentic pleasure and connection.
Yeah. So I like bringing her in because I think sex and sexual experiences can actually keep us from showing up in a lot of areas in our life. And I really enjoy the way that she approaches the entire thing. It's got so much compassion, so much understanding, so much curiosity, and also an evolution to it. Like she's all about your whole experience evolving, and there's a lot of fucking communication and exploring with yourself. So one of the things that we talked about, she said, you don't have to love your body, but you don't have to hate it either. We were talking about the body positivity movement, and she was like, I'm on board. And then she realized it was still about the body, and she was like, it's got the mind, like the mind. Like she was just like, what are we talking? Like it just became still about the body, right? Like, and so that isn't helpful for as many people as like if we really do focus on like who we are actually and our mind. And we talked about her daughters and how like someone called it one of their daughters a pretty one, and she's like she's actually really good at this and she's really into reading, and like I like just I can only imagine being a parent who's like trying to actually like keep things about who someone is rather than what they look like how challenging. And she's got twins, so like
Yeah, I mean, the whole conversation started because she works with people who often say, I don't want to have sex because I don't like the way that I look.
Yeah.
Right. And I thought that was really interesting. Or like, oh, I prefer to keep the lights off, or, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought it was really intriguing that her argument is, well, first off, sex is not about how you look. It's about how you feel when you're doing it.
Yeah, and I think
right. So how can we get caught up? How come we get hung up on this how we look situation, which I think is a societal thing.
That's a societal thing. And also I think it's like everything out there about what is sexy and like all the visuals of what is sexy and sexual. Like I grew up with Victoria's Secret models as like, that's sexy. My boobs are never going to look like those girls. I remember like looking at the bras and going, I just don't see how like mine are going to look like that. And so you start to like think, well, I'm not sexy. So like, and I think you get really hung up on that. And it's true. I remember in Brene Brown's, one of her books, there was like a group thing that she was doing. And this guy was like really frustrated because he just really wanted to enjoy sex with his partner. And he didn't have a partner at the time, but he just felt like he wasn't having a good experience in that department with any partner. And then this other girl, she kind of like dismissed his feelings in that moment. He was like sharing very, very vulnerable space about how he felt like he just wanted to have sex with someone. And she was so hung up about like how she looked that they weren't doing that. And this woman was like, yeah, right. You don't feel that way. We have to shave our legs. We can't have cellulite. She dumped all of her own insecurities on this guy.
Right.
And in the book it says, do you not understand? We just want to have sex with you. Like it's not about that. And I just remember like reading that going, so fascinating. Like so many people are so hung up on like, I've got to have all these things. And like some people are like, I just really want to have sex with the person I'm in a relationship with. I just want to. And so I really enjoyed, I think that goes back to Dr. Celeste Holbrook's first episode as well. So it's worth listening to.
Episode 85.
Yeah. Then we also got into, what she was calling harm reduction strategies or harm reduction actions, when people, sometimes we judge people for surgeries they get or adjustments that they make to their body. And then she is like, I put makeup on today. That's a harm reduction action because like, I don't want to be attacked by people. So I put this makeup on. So I feel like I look pretty enough to show up and do a reel where I can educate people on sex and like reduce the harm of attacks on myself. And the reality.
I thought it was interesting that she said it's a decision to do this, even though she's kind of reframing it, right? Because we've got the societal expectation of you got to have your makeup and your lipstick and your lashes and your nails and all the things done. And she said, well, I have a choice. Like if I'm going to be on stage speaking to people, it allows me to get that stuff out of the, it allows it so that's not a distraction for people if I'm not wearing it. So I chose to put on my eyelashes to do this presentation or whatever. Yeah. But also harm reduction is also, she talked about it being, maybe it's a boob job or maybe it's the BBL where it's like, you're getting your butt lifted or filled.
Oh, I was wondering if you knew what that was.
I definitely had to look it up. I was like, I don't know what a Brazilian butt lift is. I didn't know that. But
oh my God. I remember like, I like how she brought this up though, because it is a choice and we all have different.
I mean, I remember judging a friend of mine for getting her lips filled.
Oh.
And I was like, what? You don't need to do that.
Yeah. And I still enjoy, I don't know, enjoy is the wrong word. I still am okay with like asking somebody why they want to do something like that. Just because I don't think we all have to go, you're amazing, go get your lips done. You're amazing, go get this on. I do think that like as a friend, it's okay to say, hey, do you think you need to do that?
I wasn't in a place to say that. I was just like, I was actually like, definitely, I felt like, I guess I had this preconception that anyone who's getting the work done, they don't like themselves. And so therefore, they're doing the work so that they can like themselves more. And I think that this conversation with Dr. Holbrook is the opposite of that. In fact, you can still love yourself and get that work done. And it doesn't have to be this, like my perspective that I was putting on this is, oh, well, they must not like themselves, so therefore they're trying to like themselves more by doing this thing.
I understand that. I
the
definitely think I used, especially prior to this, there's harm reductions that I do. Like I color my hair because it's a choice. I really do like the way I look with this hair color. I've had it for 15 years. It's not changing. We're not stopping. I get my eyelashes done because I actually don't want to do my makeup. And I know that putting on makeup does make it easier. It's less distracting for people to get your point across when you're on social media and you're doing things. And by the way, it does look better when the melasma is a little bit covered up. It's less distracting, so I can get my point across. However, I do remember like saying similar thoughts like, oh God, why would they do that? They're so beautiful without that.
Right. Yeah.
But that's it. It doesn't even matter what like that. It is what they feel would reduce harm towards them. And if we could see it that way, then we could actually probably have even more kindness towards other people. Yeah. And maybe people would need less harm reduction actions. But also whether or not they get them, it's actually not that there's something wrong with them for doing it. Yeah,
she specifically emphasized the importance of not shaming someone or yourself for engaging in activities that promote harm reduction.
And I don't think anyone listening to this is like actively going around going, I can't believe you got your lips done. But I do think that like...
I think it's just, it might not ever be anything you would ever say, but you still think it, Yeah. I mean, me too.
But so like I since this conversation, because we had it a couple months ago, as I've seen people who've done different like harm reduction actions, or when I'm doing them, I'm much more conscious of that and going, okay, is this a habit? Do I need to reduce harm in this moment? Or am I like, am I choosing to do this? And as long as I'm choosing to do it, I think it's absolutely fine. If I'm doing it because I think other people expect it of me, that's when I'm like, it actually doesn't fucking matter what I look like right now. Because I don't want to choose that right now. So I think that was also, thank you, Celeste, super enlightening for me. Because I'm like, when I put lipstick on, I am choosing to do it, and so it's not like, oh, I think people expect this of me as well. So
I think it extends to the next step of like actual personal safety. So harm reduction, but then there's also the personal safety. So it may be that weight loss or surgery is literally for a safety purpose. So, and we just don't know all the specifics.
Yeah. And so, we can also give ourselves a ton of brain space back by not worrying about other people's harm reductions.
Yeah, who fucking cares? It's not you.
You do you, babe.
Yeah.
What did you love?
Yeah, so I really loved that she talked about basically reframing how we think of what is exactly sex, right? Because sex will change as we age, because our bodies change as we get older. And she said, you can have sex in different ways over what if you have a 50-year relationship? Is sex the same when you first met as it is 50 years later? Of course not. That just sounds like laughable, right? But what is sex, as you're with someone for over the long time? And, so she talked about maybe actually having a discussion about how you like to feel. Again, it's not about how you look, it's about how you feel during sex and what sex feels like. And I know we talked about this on the first recap in episode 86, that like sitting down and saying, hey, this is how I'd like to feel, when we are having sex. But what I guess a year later or a year and a half later, like coming back around and listening to this a second time, she mentioned words like, I want to feel safe. I want to feel excited. I want it to be fun, or silly or something like that. And I had never really thought about, like, I don't know. All I thought is like, whatever you feel like and what you see in the movies, sex is intense. It's this intense,
or it's
4
really
minute
romantic,
scene. Right? Or
it's very sensual.
Yeah,
and you can want all of those things, but like there is actually more words. There's more feelings.
Right. And, she said, well, I want to feel more connected. And that one I thought was really interesting because, it could be that it's very, like, it's just like something that you schedule every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. and, you get it out of the way. And that's, like, I guess it's okay.
Oh my God.
But that's
One of my
not that awesome.
girlfriends in LA, I mean, they were older than us by a little bit, but like, she said, Lesley, you just do it twice a week. That's what happens when you've been married for 25 years. And I was like, I mean, great. I think that's actually probably more than most people who've been married for that long.
Probably.
So go you, but like, it's also like,
but she obviously
is it on
really
pizza night? Is it on like chicken night? Like, this sounds like it's part of like
right. We get home from the gym. We're going to take a shower. We're going to have sex. And then we're going to have hot dogs on the grill. Like,
yeah. Like, and also fine. But like, please have the conversation. I think we talked about like once a quarter or like a couple times a year about how often are you sharing how you want to feel? And then like also, I think this goes into the be it action item. So I'm going to kind of I'll just be quick on this. It's like, if you are like, I want to feel intense and I'm like, I want to feel like relaxed. And it's like, okay, so what other, what other words can we like, there is a Venn diagram where that works out. So how do we do that?
Yeah. And the connected thing I thought was interesting because she said, well, what if part of sex was actually having a conversation with each other prior to, getting started?
Oh, but Brad, that would remain that they need more time.
Which, especially as you age, she's talking about like people who are older. What if sex is sitting on the patio holding each other's hands during the sunset? But what if it's not actually like, penetration, basically?
I know. I think like we forget that intimacy is so many different things.
Yeah.
It can even just be looking at each other's eyes.
Yeah.
And like
totally.
Also just being still with the other person and
being present.
Yeah. And so I mean, I really enjoy, you guys, if you're not following her on Instagram, I'm just going to say you should do that. Her Wes Anderson reel that she did during the whole thing, like made me fucking laugh.
She's funny.
She's funny. Also, she recently posted like a reel, like, the kids are in bed. My husband and I got all the toys out. And she's like, I look more like a Western like horseman rider than I do someone about to have sex. Cause she has all these toys and it just looked like she was about to like go like get some horses. So I just really enjoy her approach to it because she really talks about it like the weather. And I think like, especially because she grew up in a purity culture and we both grew up in a religious household, and we have a guest coming up who grew up in a religious household and now is in the sexual world. It's like, we do really need to have sex be like the weather. Not like the sex is boring like the weather, but like that talking about what your needs are is like saying like, oh my God, it's 111 degrees today. Like it has to be more normalized and a little less awkward because it's the only way we can actually probably get more curious and get our needs met.
Yeah. And I think just to sum this up with what she mentioned about sexual resiliency, it's an interesting concept. Can sex be resilient? And I think that with communication, if we can shift the definition of what sex means or is to us in your relationship, in our relationship, then, we can keep things sexy, keep things, intimate, over time, and it doesn't necessarily need to always be the Thursday at 4:30 meeting equals sex. Maybe sex is more than that.
Oh, and also you can still have sex at 4:30 on Thursday, but it just being present and being intentional about what that is. I keep thinking about, there's two things that came up. I hope the second one comes back to my mind because it's already left. But the first one I've talked about with her before was like, it is this article that was read on a New York Times like Sunday read. So it was an article in the New York Times about like sex over like 70 or 60 or something like that. And it was the most interesting thing because the second thing came back to my mind. Good. So the most interesting thing because it was about this idea of like, how does sex change when you're 90? And like some people need to do it on their side. And like also maybe their first partner they were.
Sorry, can you say that one more time? How to what?
Oh, so
how does sex
change
okay,
when as you're older? Because especially like when you're older, if you have osteoporosis or you have different things, or like maybe like somebody doesn't have the strength to be on top. So like they were talking about having sex on their side because like it's easier on both parties to like lay there on their side and like
we get old.
I get old. Hey, everyone, strength train. Do your Pilates because
Pilates.
if you would like to keep doing sex the way you're doing it, you've got to have flexibility and strength all the way. The second thing that came up is I remember, I don't know if I've talked about this before on the podcast, so forgive me, but I remember I was in physical therapy for my wrist, and I was on these like, it was a time where like I had to sit there and just let these probes like do this little energy stuff on my arm. So I'm just sitting there and I was trying not to listen to this conversation, but of course my ears perked up when my physical therapist was working with this woman and the woman was like, oh, I thought I was going to work with your husband. And she said, well, you are at the point in the physical therapy where I have to ask a question and it just comes out better if it's with me. How do you and your partner have sex? And the woman looked at her and she said, well, you've been coming for 6 weeks and you're still having the same pain in your lower back and your pelvis. And so I'm just wondering if you guys are always doing missionary. And she said, yes. And she said, may I suggest you explore other positions? Because until we can strengthen the muscles that support your pelvis and your back, that position is actually just hitting everything that we're working on. And so I remember like going, that's so interesting. And so I find like sexual resilience is like that. It's like if there's a position that you and your partner are usually doing and you no longer can do it, sexual resilience is also you saying, hey, I really love you, but that position's no longer working for my private parts right now. We need to move things around.
Yeah. All right. Finally, let's talk about those be it action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Dr. Celeste Holbrook?
You're going first.
I'm doing it. She said, she's actually working on this herself in her own life. And she said, discipline, even when you don't feel motivated. And I think she specifically mentioned like getting her name out there with like, submitting things for press and whatever. And it's just like this slog that she's got to go through, but being disciplined enough to be consistent with that, she said she's because she wants to be on TEDx. She wants to have a TEDx talk.
I hope she is. And I also, Dr. Celeste, have you looked at Aspen Ideas? I think you need to be on that too.
Aspen Ideas?
Yes. Aspen Ideas. It's another like thought leading thinker thing. And Eliza Schlesinger was just on there and I was like, what is this Aspen Ideas? And she said, it's like a TEDx, but something different. And I was like, oh, we all should have, we can now have new goals.
I love that. Aspen Ideas. It's a festival.
Yeah.
It's just happened. We just finished.
No, it just finished. But then she could put her application in for next year.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm here making goals for Dr. Celeste.
Yeah. We got you covered. We will dream big for you.
We're dreaming big for
you. She said what I thought was interesting is she always kind of rejected this idea of discipline because discipline meant like being put in a box and then like these are the rules and you have to follow those rules and all this stuff. And she said, actually, I'm again reframing discipline because discipline is going to help me achieve my goals. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's actually really well said.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
What about you?
Okay, so she was her be action was like emulating is embodiment. So this was very interesting. And she said that the feelings of insecurity and discomfort around our appearance or our bodies is not out of the ordinary.
During sex.
Yeah. Yes. And so you're not alone if you feel that way. And, but it's important to become aware of what you want your sex life to feel like emotionally. And I think we get hung up on like, how do I look when I'm having sex and not be more concerned with like, what do I want out of this experience? Like, how do I want to feel? What do I want it to feel like? So she says, translate this to emotions and behavior. So she said, sit down, and we talked about this a moment ago, dream up how the sexual experience would feel, and then come up with words, and you both write it down and you both share it.
Yep.
And I really like that she said you both write it down because it's kind of like that game show with the married couples where it's like, who asked who on the first date, and they both like raise their thing up and you realize that they both chose the wrong answer, but they both thought they were right. It's like you write it down so that you don't change. I liked it so you don't change what you wrote down based on what your partner said they wanted. You can each have what you want and you can share it without being swayed in that moment. And then you can talk about how to organize it so you both get what you want. And I just really, she said, can you compare this
also,
list?
you can figure out there's some overlap.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like we all need a thesaurus and a book of emotions. I'm like, I need more words. I feel like I need more words. But she said you can discover shared desires for connection and for fun, and also recognize unique emotional preferences. And, I think like being in a relationship for a long time and having that sexual resilience is like giving the person what they need makes them feel more amazing, and then they can give you what you need, and then you feel more amazing. It goes back to that book, Getting the Love You Want. It's like, instead of like you love the person so much, you give them what they're asking for, they give you what you're asking for, and then everyone gets their needs met, instead of just demanding what you want and expecting the person to just read your mind. So I just was like, it's not working out for anybody.
Yeah, that's no fun.
And so anyways, I thought the whole episode was a beit action item.
I feel like she's going to be back.
Yeah, we have to have her back. We really do. I almost like want a panel of like,
that'd be interesting.
There was this other woman who, I heard her on Hysteria, and she was talking about, it was really funny the way she was talking about her sex life. And she's like, yeah, sometimes I take breaks and get a sandwich. And I'm like, oh, so it's a whole day event for you. You know, like, I know. And I was like,
a sandwich?
like, can you have sex after eating? Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
What kind of sandwich?
I don't know. But then we heard like Sean Hayes' partner, like that one time wanted to bake a burrito. And I was like,
God.
okay, well, like,
I know, that was
so I guess everybody is stocking up on protein. So, but anyways, I really enjoy this. I'm going to keep bringing it back because I just know that for women, this kind of conversation needs to happen more often. So it becomes a little bit more natural. I was just texting with a girlfriend that we're going to see Chippendales, and she's like, oh, that's like probably like outside of my league. And I was like, oh, it's actually really entertaining and it's really a lot of fun. And like, and I was like, oh, wow. Like maybe we're not showing that like an experience like that doesn't have to be as sexual as it's promoted to be. It can also just be an enjoyable experience that kind of gets your curiosity piqued about like, oh, what vignette in there did turn me on. And like, I just more opportunities to be curious, because in the first episode she was on, she said like everything we do in life, we do by modeling. Our parent cooks, we learn how to cook.
Right.
Someone drives, we watch them, we know how to drive. That doesn't happen in our life and
around sex
because the stuff that does happen,
I would say it's very infrequent, or if it
well, it's porn.
Well, what I meant was, I think generationally speaking, it's highly unlikely that your parents actually modeled any sex in any way.
Yeah, they really hit it. Also, because I do think that there's like weird lines that could be crossed.
Yeah.
But so then it's left up to porn to be the model for you, which is
movies
like,
or porn.
Or movies. And like not many of those are saying this is acting.
This is a healthy relationship.
This is a healthy relationship.
This is an actor and an actress.
And they communicated beforehand and agreed upon all the things.
And
so
she
like
signed a paper.
Yeah. So I do want to have her back and a more conversation like this so we can like truly get past our bodies, ladies, and really get more in what do we want? And it's not just what we want in our life and for our goals and for the money we want to make and the people we want to be friends with, but also like, how do you want to feel in that sexual experience with the partner that you're with? So
yeah.
Anyways, I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really hope you had a good time listening to this. I'm sure, I hope this wasn't like talking about sex with your parents. I really hope this was less awkward than that. And we want to know how you're using these tips. I challenge you to just share the episode. Yeah. I know that might be uncomfortable for you, but also like, again, even if you just share it in a text message with a friend, like, hey, you were talking about with your partner, this being something, like share this with them because they need to know they're not alone, and they need to know that there are options out there that do not require them to be somebody else. Yeah. They can actually ask for what they want. So share this with a friend.
And if you really loved this episode and you want us to bring Dr. Celeste Holbrook back, send us a DM.
And send us the questions you want us to ask her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Be it till you see it, babe.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is produced and edited by the Epic team at Disenyo.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Chofi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals and Semena Velazquez for our transcriptions.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all the content to our website, and finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.